गुरु गौरांगंधार विकगिरिधारी शिष्य राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuttarashitashmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuttarashitashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuttarashitashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Bhagavatas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. नित्याल भविष्य शुद्ध सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्याल भविष्य वैष्णव सार्वभौम शुद्ध जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौड़िय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट विदग्ध गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी बिंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माई की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। जय नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट शिल भक्ति विज्ञान भारती गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विश्व शिल भक्ति बल्लभ तीर्थ गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विश्व शिल भक्ति दायित माधव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णु शिल भक्ति प्रमोद पुरी गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विश्व शिल भक्ति Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All the associates of Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai and all of their disciples and followers ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. I'm going to do a very short Mangalacharan because we're starting late today. अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिषे नमः। अङ्गश्यामलिमाचटाभिरभितो मन्दीकृतेन्दीवरम् जाड्यां जागुडरोचिषं विदधतां पट्टाम्बरस्य श्रिया वृन्दारण्यविलासिनां हृदिलसतामाभिरामोदरं राधास्कन्धनिवेशितो ज्वलभुजां ध्यायेम दामोदरम्। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवी त्वां नायमां चरणन्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Nri Hari Prabhu Bhavatarani Mataji Anadi Krishna Prabhu Rukmini Didi Champak Mataji. Um, and on YouTube I see Radhika. I know a bunch of Radhikas. I don't know which Radhika this is, but Dandavat Pranams. And also pranams to, I don't know who else is there. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. I'm guessing Indira Mataji and Raseshwari Mataji are there. And all the devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jayadev Prabhu, Krishna Rose, Ananda Pradayini, Vrinda Didi, and everybody else. Haribo. All right, so I was about to cancel today's reading, but then I last minute just decided to not, but that's why, yeah, starting a bit late today. I was trying to finish the songbook last night. Well, send it to, because the whole songbook was in my hands for a while, or the InDesign file, and I was entering in corrections. And as you know, we added in 3 stotrams to Mahaprabhu at the beginning of the book. Um, and so just late last night, Vaijanti Mala Mataji and we finalized the songs. And then I was supposed to add in everything and prepare it all and send it to the editor. And when I was in the middle of doing it, it was really late at night. And when I was in the middle of doing that, I fell asleep. And then I woke up at like, I don't know, 4:15 this morning. And then I continued doing it. And I went for Mangalarti a little while, and then I came back from Mangalarti, and then I continued working. And then I continued working and I sent it off, and then I just fell asleep again. And then I woke up and then I was like, oh my God, the program is like, oh, anyway, so that's what's, um, yeah, these days are so crazy for me. But we've been reading the past couple of days, we've been reading from the book Sri Chaitanya and His Associates by Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Goswami Maharaj. We're reading his glorification, his Puspanjali at the lotus feet of his Gurudev Nityalila Pravishya Shishimad Śrīla Bhakti Dayita Mādhava Goswami Maharaj, whose appearance day it was yesterday. Oh, and Hare Krishna Saraswati Didi. Haribo. Okay, very nice. Hari Hari was saying Saraswati Jagannath Puri's been listening as well. Great. Okay, and Rukmini Didi is saying that that on the West Coast in USA, it is Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha, sorry, it's Śrīla Bhakti Dayita Mādhava Goswami Maharaj's appearance day today. Perfect. All right, so Haribol Vidyalala Sadidi. All right, so let's continue from where we left off. And I really loved this last paragraph that we read yesterday. Actually, I'm going to read the last 2 paragraphs that we read yesterday. This is so beautiful. Okay, let's see. Of all of Srila Gurudev's virtues, his attachment to his spiritual master. Actually, should we recite Srila? Let's recite it. Srila Bhakti Dayita Mādhava Goswami Maharaj's Pranam Mantra first. Just trying to think of a keyword for it. Anyhow, I'm just gonna scroll. Did I scroll too far? I think I did. There. Okay, let's. Okay. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Rupanuga Priyaya Cha Srimate Bhakti Dayita Mādhava Namine Krishna Bhinna Prakasha Shri Murtaye Dīnatarine Kshama Gunavataraya Gurave Prabhave Namaha Satirtha Priti Saddharma Guru Priti Pradarshine ईशो ध्यान प्रभावस्य प्रकाशकाय ते नमः श्री क्षेत्रे प्रभुपादस्य स्थानोद्धार सुकीर्तये सारस्वत गणानंद संवर्धनाय ते नमः Shri Bhakti Dayitang Nama Acharya Varyang Jagadgurum Vande Shri Madhava Devam Gosvāmī Pravaram Prabhum. Haribol Champak Mataji, and I already said Bhavatarani Mataji. Where is the... Oops. Sorry guys, 1 second. We saved our... Oh God, that's so annoying. Of all of Srila Gurudev's virtues, that's the word. Okay. What's going on? Sorry. Okay. Of all of Srila Gurudev's virtues, this is what we read this yesterday. Of all of Srila Gurudev's virtues, his attachment to his spiritual master and his affection for his godbrothers were exemplary. After Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, whenever any of Srila Gurudev's godbrothers were faced with hardship, he would immediately step forward to give him a helping hand without considering his own happiness or distress. Many of Prabhupada's worthiest disciples were unable to come to terms with the turmoil in which the Math found itself after his disappearance, and either returned to householder life or considered doing so. Srila Gurudev took a lot of trouble to find such devotees, seeking them in their home and persuading them to return to the Math and to lead a life of service to the Lord. Some of those he brought back subsequently took the role of Acharya. Even people that, yeah, wow. How come I can't get this thing that says copied away? It's so weird. Anyways, hopefully that's not too annoying for everybody. Devotees are a manifestation of Krishna. Affection for them accurately demonstrates the extent of one's love for, let me just reread that. Devotees are a manifestation of Krishna. Affection for them accurately demonstrates the extent of one's affection for Krishna. Similarly, the Guru's disciples are the manifestations of the Guru himself, and affectionate behavior towards them demonstrates the depth of one's love for the Guru. Srila Gurudev's exemplary love for his godbrothers was evident to the very last days of his presence in this world. This is really bugging me, the copied thing. Let me just close Kindle and we'll open it back up. I can't get it to go away. Okay, I think I have to really close Kindle. Sorry, this is just OCD thing. Okay, there. Now it's gone. Thanks for being so patient with me, everybody. Okay, so preaching activities in East Pakistan. After Srila Gurudev took sannyas, just prior to Indian independence in 1947, so after he took sannyas, just prior to Indian independence in 1947, and afterward, he went on an extended preaching tour throughout India and East Pakistan, modern Bangladesh. Wow, that must have been a dangerous time if it was just after the Indian independence. Accompanying him were Mihir Prabhu, Sankar Shan Prabhu, Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, Rama Govinda Brahmachari, Trailokya Prabhu, Mahendra Prabhu, Brahma Pyari Mohan Brahmachari, Sri Yageshwar Das Babaji Maharaj, and others. Some of the important places he's visited in Dhaka and, so I don't know how to say it, but Mymensingh districts were Baliyati, Nawabganj, Kalakopa village, Jamurki, Pakula, and Churen. No idea if I'm pronouncing those right. But while in Jamurki Pakula in the Meeman Singh district, Srila Gurudev gave a lecture in a large gathering at the local high school. He often talked about this event later. In the audience that gathered, more than 1,000 people of both Hindu and Muslim faiths were present. Many students and teachers from the school also came. Several local policemen gave Srila Gurudev the friendly warning that following partition of India and Pakistan, the situation was tense for the Hindus in the Muslim-dominated country. He was told to be careful about what he said and did, because the government was watching him. If complaints were made that something he said went against Pakistan's interest, he could be jailed. After having received this warning and seeing the large numbers of police officers present in the crowd, Srila Gurudev started to worry about the difficulties of being put in prison, where contact with many untouchable foodstuffs would be inevitable. Seeking to avoid any possibility of trouble, he requested the listeners to save their questions, for which he would leave 15 to 20 minutes at the end of his discourse. He furthermore said that he would entertain any inquiries and matters not related to his lecture at his quarters at another time. He asked that no one interrupt the lecture to ask questions, for it would disrupt the proceedings and cause distress to the other listeners. Despite this request, however, after Srila Gurudev had been speaking for half an hour, a mullah stood up and asked, "What is the reasoning behind the Hindu custom of worshipping idols?" Many of the people in the audience were irritated by the interruption and told him to hush up, and Srila Gurudev not to answer. But Srila Gurudev welcomed the mullah's question by praising it, saying that it was deserving of an answer from which everyone present could profit. Furthermore, by answering it, he would not wander from the subject under discussion, but would rather enrich it. He then proceeded to deal with the mullah's question as follows. He said that before answering him, he wished to ask him a question. "Do you believe in God, Khuda?" The mullah said, "Of course I do." Srila Gurudev then asked, "Do you believe that Khuda is almighty?" The mullah loudly declared, "Khuda is all-powerful." Srila Gurudev then laughed and said, "There, you have your answer." Not realizing the implications of the word omnipotent, the mullah was at first confused by Srila Gurudev's answer. So Gurudev started to clarify by asking, this time with the help of an example. Is God powerful enough to take Meeman Singh, that means very large, a Meeman Singh elephant, and push him through the hole of the smallest needle without even harming a hair on his body? When the mullah remained silent, Srila Gurudev continued. Perhaps Maulvi Sahib does not know the extent of Khuda's powers, but the fact is that nothing is impossible for the omnipotent Lord. Kartum akartum anyatha kartum ya samartha sa eva ishvara. He can do whatever he wishes, he can do whatever he wishes, not do something if he does not wish to do it, or undo or change whatever he has done. The Supreme Lord is all-powerful, and nothing is beyond his abilities. The omnipotent Lord is not limited to the powers that we ascribe to him. That is not what is meant by omnipotence. The Sarva Shaktiman is one who possesses all powers, imaginable and unimaginable. Once we have accepted that the Supreme Lord is omnipotent, we cannot say, he can do such and such, but not this or that. In accordance with the wish of his devotees, the supremely powerful Lord can appear in any form he desires, at any time, with his full complement of powers. If you say that he cannot, then there is no point in claiming that he is all-powerful. Any figure that a man may create out of the 5 elements, or any entity that he imagines with his material mind, whether with form or formless, is all material. That is what we call a putul, or an idol. There is no regulation in the Sanatan Dharma for the worship of such idols. What is ordained, rather, is service to the Lord's deity form, or Shri Vigraha. The Shri Vigraha is that form which the all-powerful Supreme Lord feels obliged to accept as a result of his devotees' love for him. There is a gulf of difference between an idol and the Lord's deity form. Even though the Lord's deity form is purely spiritual and blissful, Chid Anandamoy, a materially conditioned soul is unable to recognize him, just as he would be unable to recognize the Lord if he appeared directly before him. One can only perceive the Lord's divine form with the eyes of pure devotion. A vision of the Lord which has not been earned is not a true vision of the Lord. Preaching in Assam. After East Pakistan, Srila Gurudev took his party into Assam, recalling that Srila Prabhupada had once directly ordered him to preach there, as the Assamese people are simple and have faith in sadhus. To fulfill Prabhupada's order, Srila Gurudev first went to Sarabhog, near Barpeta, in the Kamrup district. Accompanying him were Bhuvan Prabhu, Udharan Prabhu, and Krishna Keshav Brahmachari Prabhu. Because of the problems in Sri Gaudiya Math, due to the change in the management subsequent to the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev stayed at the house of Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's brother, rather than in the Math. As there had been torrential rains and extensive flooding in the area, the devotees had to put all their bedding in an ox cart and walk through knee-deep water to get there. As the veranda and ground floor of the house were underwater, the party had to construct a bamboo platform on which to sleep, while another such platform served as a toilet. Even in these difficult circumstances, Krishna Keshav Prabhu's devout mother daily cooked meals for the Vaishnavas. The war with Japan was at its height during this period, and the Japanese army had already conquered Burma and crossed the border into Assam. The British Indian government's war ministry had ordered many homes throughout Assam to be requisitioned for courting Indian army troops. Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's family home was one of those taken over for this purpose, and Srila Gurudev and his party were obliged to stay in some village not far from Sarabhog. This is just a small example of how Srila Gurudev was prepared to accept any difficulty to follow the orders of his own spiritual master and bring auspiciousness to those who had forgotten Krishna. Srila Gurudev preached in these untoward circumstances for 7 days before moving to Sarabhog, where he stayed in Gopal Prabhu's house. While there, he gave daily Bhagavatam lectures at the house of a local high school teacher and leading citizen, Chinta Haran Patagiri. Those who became Srila Gurudev's disciples during his preaching activities in Sarabhog were Gopal Das Adhikari and Achyutananda Das Adhikari. A local youth named Kamalakanta Goswāmī was a regular attendant at Srila Gurudev's Bhagavat lectures. He was so attracted by Mahaprabhu's teachings that he decided to leave home and join his preaching party. Shivananda Prabhu and his nephew enthusiastically invited Srila Gurudev to visit their village, Bhavanipur Tapa, where he stayed for a few days. Kamalakanta Goswāmī accompanied the Vaishnav group to Tapa, but when his father Ghanakanta Goswāmī found out, he came there, severely chastised them, and took him back home. Ghanakanta was conditioned to believe in the superiority of Brahmanas. He did not accept the rationale behind the Daiva Varnashram taught by the Gaudiya Math. He considered that his son had lost his caste status by eating the food of the devotees, and he instructed him to remain outside the house until he had atoned. Kamalakanta had been born in a very high caste, but after hearing the pure scriptural doctrines from Srila Gurudev about the differences between a Vaishnava and a Brahman, about the superiority of the Vaishnava, and about how a Vaishnava can be born in any race or caste, he could not understand what fault there was in taking food that which had been cooked and served by Vaishnavas who followed the religious practices prescribed in the scriptures. He could not approve of his father's attitude, which was disrespectful to the Vaishnavas. And in order to avoid offenses, he left home again the very next day and came back to Tapa to surrender to Srila Gurudev. Though Kamalakanta wanted to take initiation, Srila Gurudev worried that his father and family might cause trouble, and thought it better to not give him Harinam and mantra on that occasion. In Tapa, several wealthy Marwari businessmen were attracted to Srila Gurudev and took great care to serve the Vaishnavas and help the preaching of Mahaprabhu's gospel with great sincerity. Shivananda Prabhu was very renounced, even though married, spending most of his time in devotional activities. He gave his worthy son, Lokesh, to Srila Gurudev to be fully engaged in the service of Guru and Gauranga. It is rare to see a father give his own son over to devotional service in this way. Shivananda Prabhu's nephew, Sri Lohit, and son Lokesh were initiated in the holy name at the house of Tularam Bapu in Tapa. Just before leaving for Kolkata, Srila Gurudev also initiated Kamalakanta Goswami, finally, and Ram Prasad and Bhavananda in the holy name. He gave Diksha mantra to Sri Lohit, Lokesh, and Kamalakanta when they arrived in the Medinipur Mat. They were given the names Lalita Charan Brahmachari, Lokanath Brahmachari, and Krishna Prasad Brahmachari, respectively. All of these three devotees later took sannyas from Srila Gurudev and were known thereafter as Tridandi Swami Shri Srimad Bhakti Lalit Giri Maharaj, Tridandi Swami Srimad Bhakti Surit Damodar Maharaj, and Tridandi Swami Bhakti Prasad Ashram Maharaj. Bhagavat Discourses at the Chief Minister's House. Before returning to Kolkata, Srila Gurudev spent a few days in the Assamese capital, Guwahati. Through the efforts of Krishna Keshav Brahmachari and Chintaharan Patagiri, he had the opportunity to meet many of Assam's leading citizens and preach to them. Amongst these people were Assam's chief minister Gopinath Baralai, Durgeshwar Sharma, Kumudeshwar Goswami, Bhuvan Goswami, Kanakeshwar Goswami, Rohini Chaudhary, Naveen Bardalai, Borolai, Girija Das, Dhirena Deva, Charitra Babu, Narendra Babu, and others. Arrangements were made for Srila Gurudev to speak on the Bhagavat at the chief minister's house. The people who came there to hear him speak the pure doctrines of the Bhagavat through unprecedented reasoning were enchanted. One day, after Gurudev's lecture, Gopinath Boralai, I think it's Boralai, right? I think that's how it's pronounced. Anyways, yeah, Boralai. So after Gurudev's lecture, Gopinath Boralai came to him with great enthusiasm and praised his explanation of Siddhanta. He said, "Upon hearing your Bhagavat Path, I am convinced that your objectives and those of Mahatma Gandhi are the same. You give so many examples from scripture and explain everything logically. And then you make people chant the names of Krishna. Gandhiji also ends his speeches, in which he talks about so many different things, by engaging everyone in Ram Dhun. So both of you have the same goal, to make people chant the names of God. I don't see any difference between your messages. What do you think of this opinion?" Srila Gurudev recognized that Gopinath Boralai had great faith in and affection for him. He did not wish to disturb his mind by saying something that would hurt him, so he decided to instruct him according to his level of understanding. He smiling said, "If you don't mind, then I will tell you what I think." The chief minister said, I have been illuminated by all of your valuable instructions. I have never heard such a learned discourse on the Bhagavat from anyone else before. How could I mind if you say anything at all? How could I mind if you say anything at all for my benefit? Speak freely and say whatever you wish to say. Guru Maharaj then said, I remember looking up Gopinath Bordala on Wikipedia. Pretty sure he has a Wikipedia page. Just curious I'm getting his name right now. Could I just, you guys don't mind. Sorry, I'm kind of wasting time, but I think we looked it up when we were reading from Volcanic Energy. Gopinath. Yeah, see, there he is. Bordoloi. Bordoloi. Here it is on Wikipedia. I wanted to see it in Bengali script. Anyways, that's a picture of him. That's who he's talking to, the chief minister. Oh, it's first chief minister of Assam. Interesting. Okay. So then, yeah, he said, yeah, Gopinath Bordoloi said, speak freely and say whatever you wish to say. Guru Maharaj then said, before I entered the Math, I used to take part in the freedom movement. Gandhi's Sabarmati Ashram used to publish an English newspaper called Young India, which I often read. I remember once that Gandhiji told his audience in a speech that he was ready to abandon even the chanting of the holy name for the sake of his country. As far as I can remember, his exact words were, I can even sacrifice Ram Dhun for my country. We, on the other hand, say exactly the opposite. We can sacrifice our country for Ram Dhun. Our worshipable Lord Ram is not there for us and our ends. He is for himself, and everything exists for him. Western philosophers has defined the absolute by saying the absolute is for itself and by itself. We do not have an it God. Our Lord is a supreme person, the He God. So we prefer to say the absolute is for himself and by himself. The unlimited universes come out of him. They exist within him, and they are maintained by him. So their existence is uniquely to fulfill his ends. If anyone wishes to worship the Lord, he must have a proper theological understanding. Gopinath Bordoloi was so influenced by Srila Gurudev's powerful personality that he told him his resolve to abandon householder life and live in the Math, dedicating his entire life to the service of the Lord. Unfortunately, his associates would not let him leave politics. Yeah, if you're the prime minister. Yeah, they would not let him leave politics. That's amazing though, huh? Not long afterward, he died, and so was never able to do as he had wished. Politics are so entangling that once one has gotten involved in them, it is very difficult to extricate oneself. As a result of the influence of as a result of the influence Srila Gurudev had on all these important people in Guwahati, um, he became well known both in the city and outside it. After completing his preaching activities there, he returned to Kolkata. Oh, now Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Goswami Maharaj is going to explain how he took shelter. Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Maharaj takes shelter. In 1947, Srila Gurudev returned to Assam, this time to Gwalpara. He was invited by the Gaudiya Math household devotee Sri Radha Mohan Das Adhikari Prabhu. Accompanying him were Sri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, Sri Udharan Brahmachari, Sri Madhavendra Vrajvasi, and Sri Radha Ruda Das Brahmachari. Does anybody know the difference between Vrajvasi and Das Adhikari, like Adhikari? Is Brajvasi somebody who is like who was married but then they left home and like now they've like taken Vanaprast? I'm guessing that's what it is. I think Brajvasi means Vanaprast and Dasadikari means like they are still married. But like they're still living with their wife, I mean. Anyways, that's just my guess. Srila Gurudev and his companion, but if anybody knows for sure, you can let me know. On Hari Bol Chatamai Mataji. Srila Gurudev and his companions headquartered in Radha Mohan Prabhu's house and held meetings in various parts of the town. At Hari Sabha in Gwalpara, a special assembly was held in which the town's leading barrister, Kshiroda Sen, was made president. Amongst the other important people who were present were the local district attorney, Kamakya Charan Sen, and the pleader for the Mechpada estate, Priya Kumar Guharai. Shri Kamakya Charan Guharai, son of Shri Dharendra Guharai, first met Srila Gurudev at Radha Mohan Prabhu's house in Gwalpara. One second, just looking at the comments. Thanks, Chatamai Mataji. He later took initiation and became known as Sri Krishna Vallabh Brahmachari. We know who that is. And after sannyas, Tridandi Swami Srimad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Mahārāja. He came with his friend Devavrata Ravi to ask some questions about spiritual life, as he wished to establish clearly by what method he could attain the Lord. So he's writing about himself in the third person. When he first saw Srila Gurudev sitting on an elevated seat and paid his obeisances to him, Kamakya Charan felt his blessings being showered on him, and his entire body erupted with horripilation. He asked him the following question. When I chant the holy name, I feel as though I will see the Lord at any minute. I will see the Lord any minute. Then I will have to leave my home and family, giving up all the love I feel for them. This troubles me so much that I stop chanting. Please give me some advice so that I won't stop chanting when these thoughts start bothering me. Sorry. He's so humble, huh? He said, even though the question did not show great intellectual depth, Srila Gurudev praised it. He praised it to give enthusiasm to the questioner. He then said, a few geese used to live by a lake, which was really nothing more than a stinking, stagnating little waterhole. They lived quite happily there, eating the plentiful snails, clams, worms, and shrimp. One day they saw a flock of their cousins, the swans, flying overhead. The large birds looked so beautiful with their sparkling white wings that the geese began to think that the place where they were heading must surely be much more wonderful than their waterhole. If they could live there, surely they would become as beautiful as the swans and be as happy as they. The swans had been to the sea and were now on their way to Mansarovar in the Himalayas. One of them saw the geese looking at them so pitifully and felt compassion for them. He came down to land near the geese, who were astonished by the swan's beauty. They asked him if he could take them with him to his home. The swan said that he had come precisely for that reason, to take them away from that putrid place. But when he told them to follow him, the poor geese pleaded that they were unable to fly very far. The swan felt so sorry for them that he told them to climb on his back and that he would carry them. The geese then started to wonder whether they would be able to find the snails, clams, worms, and shrimp they were used to eating once they were at Mansarovar. The swan answered that such disgusting things were not available there, and that the swans lived on lotus stems. The geese began to shriek as if with one voice, "Then how will we all survive?" And so they decided not to go at all. The geese's attachments to other things kept them from going to live in a very beautiful place like Mansarovar. Similarly, our attachment to this perishable body and everything connected with it is an impediment to our going to join the Lord. The Lord is all auspicious and free from any material defects. The Lord is all auspicious and free from any material defects. He is the embodiment of ultimate joy, and so is his abode. There is no place there for the despicable aspects of transitory material life. Anyone who is unable to abandon his attachments to things unconnected to the Lord and wishes to hang onto those things is unable to attain him. The Lord and Maya are opposites. Supreme auspiciousness cannot be had unless one is freed from material wants through the association of advanced devotees. Tato dusanga utsreja satsu sajjeta buddhiman santa eva sechindanti mano vyasangam uktivi. An intelligent person should therefore avoid bad company and associate only with devotees. With their realized instructions, such saints can cut through the knots of material attachments. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, chapter 26, verse 26. Radha Mohan Prabhu was Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada's initiated disciple. He had stayed as a brahmachari in the Gaudiya Math for a while before entering householder life. People of the region held him in high esteem because of his knowledge of Vaishnava philosophy, his high standards, and his personal character. In Gwalpara, he was known as Ram Mohanda. He worked as a clerk in the office of Kamakya Charan's uncle. The affection and kindness he showered on Kamakya Charan by showing him the devotional path is exceptional. He was thus the Vartma Pradarshak Guru who brought Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Mahārāja to the Gaudiya Math. Because of this, he had to face much opposition and criticism. Srila Gurudev's letters for Kamakya Charan were sent to Sri Radha Mohan Prabhu's address. The affection of Sri Radha Mohan Prabhu's pious wife and family for Kamakya could never be repaid. In his letters, Srila Gurudev advised Kamakya to study Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Jaiva Dharma in order to eradicate all doubts. As a result of reading this book, Thank you everybody for waiting so long. That was a really long time. Um, the Wi-Fi just stopped working for no reason. And then my mobile data wasn't working either. So then I tried switching to a different network and then that wasn't working. And then I switched back and anyways, finally, somehow I got this mobile data to work. Um, all right, we're almost finished. It's like 2 minutes till 8. Um, that was really annoying. Thanks for waiting though. Okay, so Srila Gurudev, in another letter, Srila Gurudev said that if he plans to follow a life of renunciation, the Nivritti mark, and dedicate his life to the worship of the Lord, then it made no sense to take a government job. On the other hand, if he wished to follow the path of action, the Pravritti mark, and worship the Lord while staying at home, he should take the job. Kamakya realized that it would not be possible for him to engage in pure devotional service in his family environment, and so he made up his mind to leave. How long is this section? Will this take more than 2 minutes to read? I think so. Or do you mind if I just go a little bit over time? I'm just going to go a few minutes over time. Yeah, okay. Preaching activities and holy. My Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur, visited Gwalpara only on one occasion. He ordered his householder disciple Nimananda Prabhu to establish a Gaudiya Math near the banks of the Brahmaputra River in a beautiful spot on Hulukanda Hill. The Math was given the name Prapanashram and was considered a branch of the Gaudiya Math. In the course of time, however, due to the unavailability of personnel and other problems, the institution was lost. Later, Gwalpara resident Sharat Kumar Nath offered to give a building and lands for the establishment of a math in the town. Srila Gurudev understood that this was Srila Prabhupada's desire, and so he accepted the offer. He established a branch of the Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math there in 1969. Some of the other places Srila Gurudev visited while preaching in Assam were Bijani, Patipada, Holi, and Barpeta. In Holi, a great meeting was held where thousands of men and women, both the Hindu and Muslim faiths, were present. Srila Gurudev asked the audience to save its questions, for which he would leave 15 to 20 minutes at the end of his discourse. Hey, is this the same thing? Did we go back? Anyways, I'm just going to continue reading. For which he would leave 15 to 20 minutes at the end of the discourse. However, a Muslim scholar interrupted to ask during the course of the lecture, has anyone ever seen the soul or God? What is the proof that you're not simply deceiving everyone when you talk about the soul and God? The audience asked Srila Gurudev not to answer as the question had been asked breaking the discipline requested by him. But he thought that if he did not respond, the ignorant would think that he had no answer. This is similar to the previous incident that happened, isn't it? He saw that the Maulvi was carrying a book, and he asked him what its name was. The Maulvi called the book a kitab and gave its name. Though Srila Gurudev knew several languages, including Bengali, Assamese, Hindi, and English, and though his eyes were in perfect condition, he said he could not recognize the title of the book. He asked the Maulvi if he was not deceiving him by giving him some false name. How could he prove that it was not so? The Maulvi asked the people sitting around him to confirm that the title he had given was indeed correct. Srila Gurudev said, perhaps the group was in collusion to deceive him. Maulvi Sahib was surprised by his statements and asked him what he saw. Srila Gurudev said it looked like footprints of a crow. Maulvi replied that he evidently did not know Urdu, and Srila Gurudev confessed that indeed he did not. The Maulvi then asked him, if he did not know Urdu, how could he expect to know what was written there? He would first have to learn Urdu. Then he'd be able to confirm that he had been told the book's correct title. Srila Gurudev then took the Maulvi's own words to explain to him what he was getting at. He said, even if someone knows many languages, he won't be able to understand Urdu unless he has learnt it. Even if one has good eyesight, unless he knows Urdu, he'll never be able to recognize what sounds are represented by its script, nor what the meaning of those sounds is. The same thing goes for understanding the soul and the supersoul. Even if one has great learning and experience in this world, unless he specifically earns the qualifications to experience the Lord, he will not be able to experience him. There are two kinds of vision, one based on Vedic knowledge, Vedadrik, and the other the other on simple sensual capabilities, Mamsadrik. The physical eye can only see physical objects and nothing else. Things which are beyond matter and the senses are self-revelatory and can only be seen with his blessings. The truth is revealed in the heart of the surrendered soul. A few people took shelter of Srila Gurudev in Holi. A few people took shelter of Srila Gurudev in Holi and became fixed in Vaishnava practices and took up the vow to worship the Lord according to the teachings of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Most noteworthy amongst these was Rameshwar Bardman, who is known after initiation as Rameshwar Das Adhikari. Okay, so tomorrow we will continue reading from this, from Preaching in Hyderabad. Just looking at the calendar, what's coming up tomorrow? Just seeing. Tomorrow is also the appearance day of Bhakti Surhid Akinchan Maharaj. Okay, so maybe there's something from Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha about him. We'll see. Otherwise, yeah, we'll just read more about Śrīla Bhakti Dayita Mādhava Maharaj. All right, thank you so much for letting me go 4 minutes overtime. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. जय श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय, श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय, श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय, जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय श्री परम गुरुदेव की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री रूपानु गौड़ीय गुरु वर्ग की जय श्रीला भक्ति बल्लभ तीर्थ गोसाई महाराज की जय श्रीला भक्ति दायित माधव गोसाई महाराज की जय, all the associates of Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada की जय, and all the followers of those associates की जय. जय श्री हरिनाम जय श्री स्वापाशा जी गौर नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय, श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीगण की जय, श्री गिरिराज महाराज की जय, श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय, श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि, वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवासुताय, कृष्ण भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवताय नमः. वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Dandavat pranams, dear devotees, who's there? Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Rukmini Didi, Anadi Krishna Prabhu, Champak Mataji, Chatamai Mataji, and let's see on YouTube and Facebook. Oh, I'm missing all the comments there because my computer anyways, I lost it when my internet connection went out. But I remember Ganga Mataji was, no, Vidya Lalasa Didi, Radhika Didi was there, and I'm guessing Raseshwari Mataji and Indira Mataji and everybody else. And also all the devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jaidev Prabhu, Krishna Rose, Ananda Pradayani, Vrinda Didi, and everybody else, Dandavat Pranams. All right, so for many of you, your Kartik Vrat ended yesterday on Akadashi. But for those who are still following the Kartik Vrat, I'm gonna sing Damodar Ashtakam. But if anybody's leaving now, so Dandavat Pranams. All right, so let's sing. Okay. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodabhiyolukhaladavamanam Paramrishtamadyantato Drutya Gopyam Rudantamuhurnetra Yugmamrijantam Karam Bhojayugmena Satankanetram Muhushvasakam Trirekhankakanta Stitagraivadamodaram Bhakti Baddham Iti Driksvalilabhir Ananda Kunde Swaghosam Nimajjantam Agyapayantam Tadiyeshitageshu Bhaktarjitatvam Puna Prematastam Shatavritti Vande Varang Deva Moksham Na Mokshavading Va Na Chanya Brindeham Varesharapiha Idang Deva Purnata Gopala Balam Sada Me Manasya Virastam Kim Anya Idang te mukham bhojam avyakta nilair vrittam kuntalai snigdha raktaischa gopya muhushchumbittam bimba rakta dharane manasya virastam alam lakshalabhai Namo Devadamo Darananta Vishnu Prasiddha Prabhu Dukha Jalabdi Magnam Kripa Drishti Vrishtyati Dina Batanu Grihane Shamam Agyam Ekakshidrishyai कुबेरात्मजो बद्ध मूर्तैव याद्वात् त्वया मोचितो भक्ति भाजो कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयाच्च न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेस्ति तामुदरेऽहम् नमस्तेऽस्तु धाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथ विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यं नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Natalilaya Devaya Tu Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Damodara Radha Damodara Jai Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Haribol. Jai Shri Radha Damodar Ju Ki Jai. Oh, and I forgot to mention, is there anything anybody wants to say like, before I end the stream? All right. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you